Welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Sold Sign Real Estate Unplugged. We are your favorite hosts and realtors, Lauren
and Naya.
And we are back with another amazing story with someone who has written in to our show. So again, thank you so much for writing in, and let's get right into it.
All right. Okay, so this is from an investor. They said, I found a promising property online, a small older house in what seemed like a growing neighborhood. The price was $150,000 and I thought it was a steal. I didn't spend much time researching the area or inspecting the house because I was excited to make my first investment. I quickly secured a loan, put in an offer, and it was accepted. Everything seemed to be going smoothly until I started to realize the hidden issues with the property. First one, shortly after purchasing, I discovered major issues with the plumbing and electrical systems. I hadn't done a thorough inspection, and these problems cost me an extra $20,000 to fix. The neighborhood wasn't as promising as I thought. It turned out that the crime rates were high, and there were no good schools or amenities nearby. This made it hard to find tenants willing to pay the rent I needed to cover my cost. I underestimated ongoing costs like property management, maintenance, and insurance. These expenses quickly added up and ate into my expected profits. I took out a large loan to cover the purchase, thinking I could easily make the payments from rental income. But with all the unexpected costs and difficulty finding tenants, I struggled to keep up with the mortgage payments. After months of stress and financial strain, I decided to sell the property at a loss. I learned some hard lessons, but gained valuable insights that I want to share with new investors.
Wow. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Because this is like real.
This is definitely
exactly
real.
what happened for new investors.
Yeah.
And some mistakes that, not saying you made mistakes, but you put it out here, so thank you. Mistakes that new investors would make.
Yeah. And I think in the end, yes, they ended up having a loss, but I still think that the fact that this person, was able to jump out there and give it a try is still like really important. And, now they know. And sometimes you don't know what you don't know until you actually try it. So you know that you didn't know the thing until you try and do it. So, it's kind of like in retrospect, okay, now I know to do a better thorough inspection. Now I know to look at the location better. I hear all the time that investors should kind of overestimate costs. So, now they know and are better prepared moving forward. So it's kind of like, a loss, but definitely, like they said, they gained lessons from it.
Yeah, and that's never a loss.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Never a loss,
that's priceless.
And you're ready, like, for your next one. And not saying $150,000 isn't a lot of money, because it is. So I think just being able to, it sucks that it was a loss when it came to you selling the house, the investment property. But again, I don't think it was a loss when it comes to knowledge and the experience that you had. Because then, like you said, you can help other investors and kind of teaching them ways that you can, or they can go about not making these type of mistakes. So a few things you want to go through them, kind of like, so the first one, I would say the market analysis. So actually reviewing the neighborhoods, checking the crime rates, seeing the schools, seeing if it has any type of amenities, because believe it or not, looking at school districts, like if you go to like greatschools.com or niche, if you go to those sites, you'll be able to see what like the school district is, the ratings, the diversity, because that makes a huge impact on whether or not people and families are going to come in. And if you're in a family area, then you are going to want to, put families into your investment property. But if it's not in a good school, families aren't looking there. So you would really have to pay attention to who you're marketing to.
Yeah, who you're marketing to. That's good. Yeah. And I was going to add to that, looking at the recent sales in that neighborhood would be helpful, but also the rent. So like you want to look at, as an investor, knowing that you want to rent it out and have long-term tenants, you need to know what other homes in the area are renting for as well, to help you calculate, what you're expecting to get in rent and if that will make sense for the money that you're putting in and the money that you purchased it for.
Yep, that's exactly right. That's so good. That makes a lot of sense, because if you're like, oh man, this would be perfect, I can rent it out for this amount. I feel like this person was thinking of it, I can rent it out based on how much money I've put
Yeah,
in.
exactly.
Instead
To cover
of
my costs.
exactly,
Yeah.
instead of, like you said, putting like looking to see what the market rental rate is going
Yeah.
for, and then basing your cost off that.
Yeah.
And then say, okay, well, I'm not going to put too much money into this investment property because I know I can only rent it out for this amount of money.
Exactly.
So I feel like it was just like backwards.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think you just did
and
it
again,
backwards.
yeah. Now he knows in retrospect
Right.
what should come first.
It was just a little lesson.
Yeah.
So it's okay. The inspection.
Yeah. So you definitely want to get a professional inspection so that there are, that you're fully aware of what repairs, what maintenance, what it's all looking like condition wise for the home. So and you're not surprised. So this person, off the bat had to spend an extra $20,000 for plumbing and electrical. Those are like two of the, major systems in the home, and like the number one thing an inspector would be able to point out. So getting that done, you can expect that to maybe cost like $500, or if you add extra layers to your inspection, a little bit more, but that could save you the $20,000, because you'd be able to make a more informed decision about moving forward with that home, or just knowing that you are willing and okay to maybe make those repairs and whatever that cost is going to be. And that kind of goes along with the next point of just being realistic with your budgeting.
Yeah.
So being sure that, again, you are aware of the costs coming in. So knowing how much your loan was, how much you're expecting to get from the rent, how much the cost of like things that you want to repair, all of that. And and like just not whatever that all adds up to. You don't want to kind of look at that exactly. You would want to round up and give yourself some wiggle room for, the layers of unexpected surprises, and just because like inflation and people are charging more these days for like repairs and stuff. So I wouldn't just expect down to the dollar amount that you added, but throwing in some extra wiggle room that you may need to budget for.
Yeah, and my rule of thumb when it comes to investment properties is netting at $500 a door. So if you have like, whether it's a townhouse or a condo or a single family home, or you have a duplex, it has multiple units. My goal, if I'm running numbers like on Bigger Pockets or something, I'm using their calculator, then I'm definitely like, okay, I want to be able to net, not gross, net. That means after all my expenses, I want to be able to net $500, and that way I know that if something does go wrong, like we're pretty covered, and we're still making a good amount of money. So as long as we can net that, then those numbers are pretty good for us. That's kind of my rule of thumb.
I love that. I hope y'all took some notes on that. She said $500 a door at least, and to use Bigger Pockets for their calculator, so that can help you calculate what you're going to profit from your property. So
yeah,
awesome.
I love it. Yes.
So back to the location, of course, she talked about using resources like Niche and greatschools.com to be sure that there's good schools in the area, especially if your audience is for families, or if it's like a family neighborhood. Schools are going to be important for them. And then amenities are going to be important for, anyone that they can get to a grocery store, maybe some entertainment or whatever nearby. So just looking at the location, and also, it's always good to look at the development plans if you are able to, especially as an investor, that you're likely maybe going into an area that is not all the way there yet, but is coming. And that might be the point of why you want to invest and get into this neighborhood or whatever early. So that's fine, because we always say real estate is a long-term play. So like, getting in early and knowing that it's going to take some time to build is fine, but maybe look ahead at the development plans to make sure that they align with what you are kind of hoping, or hoping that area to become, and that it kind of aligns and makes sense for you to move forward with that property.
That's a great idea. That was great. Yeah.
I love looking at development plans. I'd be like, okay, this is what's coming. All right.
That's great. I don't look at that. I
do. And I don't know. I don't do anything after that, but I just be like, okay, so this is what they're talking about.
But at least that it's coming. So I never look at that. That is horrible. Okay, I'm gonna start looking at that.
I don't
Where do
know,
you
I find
find it? Do you have
fun.
like a website?
I just literally Google, so it'll be like on the whatever county or city, like on their city or county website. So I just literally will type in like whatever neighborhood it is, development plan, and then all these documents will come up. And a lot of times it's like a PDF like link.
Oh, okay.
So you can see the date when it was like created. So sometimes, because development plans can be like for a 40-year term or like a 20-year
Right.
term. So it could have been one in like that was written in 2006. And so like I still will look at that and be like, okay, this is what they like intended. And you might see that some of the things happened and some of the things didn't happen. And then when I can't find a recent one, I will like try to find like an association or neighborhood that's like working on it. Cause normally it'll be like, cause actually when I was driving through Anne Arundel, I literally just passed it again this morning. Somebody has like yard signs up that say like Plan 2040. And I think they're calling for people to be a part of Anne Arundel County's like, I guess, what year are we in? 2024.
2024?
I guess next like 20-year whatever plan. It's called like Plan 2040. And I keep going by the signs like too quickly to see it. But I was like, oh, Plan 2040. And it said like Anne Arundel County. So I think that they're calling for people to like be in the process of, you know, talking and reviewing what the next plans will be for what's coming.
Oh, I would do that. That's coming into the county. I'm gonna have to see if I can find
because you know where I come from on the edge of the city. That's where I've been seeing it, like in Glen Burnie. But there's one for my neighborhood, so that's like on my to-do list to like get connected with those people.
Yes.
So yeah,
and we're like right in the know. So
I feel like I need to be in the know. around the way.
Right, and everyone, what's going on? You got a lot of stuff though that's being built
a lot
up,
of stuff is coming.
That's
so
good.
I'm excited about that. And that development plan helped me be like, okay,
you can see the bigger picture.
I see the bigger picture.
That is true.
So I'm just patiently waiting for that picture to be painted.
That picture to become a reality, y'all. It'll be there. And it takes so much time. You gotta find people to like rent out space, and so you gotta find the space. So I'm sure all of that will be coming very soon.
Yes.
Location, which is very important when you're anything in real estate. Location is just the most important thing, honestly. Just because that's the one thing you can't change. When it comes to it, like you can't pick up your house. You can do everything else in your house, but you cannot pick it up and change and move it to a different location. So if you're ever thinking like, man, should I go with this beautiful, renovated house, but it's in absolutely the worst location, and you won't be able to resell it in 5 to 10 years, go and get that house in the best location. And it could be the worst house. Go and fix it up, because whatever you paid for it, and then you fix it up, you are going to make so much money off of that house, and you won't have a problem selling it later. Because that house in the horrible neighborhood that's completely renovated, that's pretty much your max income. I mean, your max equity, because it's already renovated. There's nothing else to add to it. But if you go ahead and do it in the better neighborhood, I'm telling y'all, so worth it. It really is. It's worth it. So like, you won't have a problem selling. No, I don't think any of our homes will have a problem selling at all, which I'm happy about.
Let's see. Financing. So this investor was able to quickly get their $150,000 loan, which, is good. They were able to do that very quickly to put in an offer. But you want to be mindful to not take on more than you can handle and not over leverage with the finances. So again, being sure that you can cover what the mortgage payments are, even if it's vacant for a while. And so like this investor mentioned, he got to the point of needing to sell because he started to struggle with the payments, because all this time that he was having trouble finding the tenants, it's empty. So the time that he thought, tenants would be paying the mortgage, he had to pay the mortgage on top of, the other costs that he was still fishing out for repairs and such. So it ended up being like an over leveraged situation, and that made him decide to sell. So you want to be mindful of that again from the beginning, being sure that you also have a mortgage that is reasonable, that you can handle on your own in the event that the property is actually vacant for some time.
I love that. Makes a lot of sense. Now you're paying mortgage and you paying your loan
that he just wasn't expecting. So that's kind of tough. And then really, if you need help, so this person is a new investor, and while he was like pretty ready to go, like he got his loan, he made the offer, some of this could have been, I don't want to say, avoided maybe. some of this could have been navigated differently had he had some support or guidance from a realtor. So as realtors, even if you're an investor, we can still support you in your investment journey with the purchase of investment property. So, as a new investor, if you feel like maybe you don't want to jump out completely on your own the first time, you can totally work with a realtor to, help you learn how to do your market analysis and stuff like that, so that the next time you might feel more confident or better doing it on your own.
I love that. And then the investment strategy, deciding what you want to do if for whatever reason you can't sell it or you can't rent it. Well, shoot, rented it, sell it, because you can do the BRRRR method where you buy, renovate, rehab. No. Yeah, and then repeat.
Yes.
I'm missing one of my R's. I think it's off.
Buy.
Oh, renovate. I'm sorry. Buy, renovate, refinance, and repeat.
Refinance.
Sorry.
Yes.
I always do renovate and rehab.
Rehab the same. Yes.
So you do the BRRRR method, which is not a buy and hold. You can do a buy and hold, or you can kind of do a flip. It seems like maybe he knew what he wanted to do when he went in, because he seems like he just said he decided to make his first investment property, which is telling me maybe he didn't know which way he wanted to go, but it looks like he wanted to rent it out because he wanted the tenants in there. But after doing all that stuff for $20,000, shoot, that's a renovation right there. You might as well just go ahead and renovate it, refinance, get your money back, and let it go.
Right. So maybe that's an important note too, because what your strategy is then can help you dictate, I guess, the kind of property that you get.
Right.
So if he really knew that he wanted to rent it out, maybe, getting something that was really just turnkey, because this, like you said, does seem like maybe it would have been better to do the BRRRR method off the jump, like knowing that that's what you were going in to do.
Right.
Versus he was thinking that he was going into rent, but ended up doing some of the R's of he bought and then ended up renovating probably more than he thought he was going to. So having a clear strategy can help you dictate what kind of property and a limit for the budget of that property, and then you can go from there.
Yeah, because those costs are different. Like Naya said, if you do a rental, you can do it completely rehab. But if you're doing a flip, you don't want the flip to be rehabbed. You want it to be a mess, or at least just cosmetic work, so you can go in, flip it, and get some money back. And then also, you don't want to be borrowing from hard money lenders, because they have, if you're doing a buy and hold, because they have very high rates, they're great to use. But if you're doing more like a flip where you can give their money back, you're only holding their money for maybe 6 months. But if you're going to do a buy and hold, borrowing money from a hard money lender instead of either using your own cash or just using a lender where your rate is a lot lower, that may be a better situation, and that's how you would know your investment and which financing you would want to use.
That's such a good point. And it sounds like because he got the loan so quickly, he said, he or she, they said, I quickly secured a loan. So they likely did go with the hard money and had a high interest, which is also what was eating up at his mortgage costs. So again, lessons learned. I'm feeling the stress and financial strain that they experienced.
We're not even in it.
Right. I'm you talk about that high interest rate. I do understand why you were stressed out. So going forward, and for any of those who are looking to invest at some point, definitely hold on to these tips, tricks, and lessons from this person's experience so that you can navigate it differently and have a more successful time with your investment property.
Yes. Yeah. And keep learning. It's okay that that you made a mistake. We're all going to make mistakes. We're not perfect. So just keep learning. And the more you do it, the better you're going to get. Yeah. And the more you keep learning about it, the better you're going to get. So thank you guys again for joining us for another episode. We can be found on any podcast platform, whichever is your favorite. You can find us, and you'll catch all of our visuals on YouTube. So we hope you have a great week, and we'll see you soon.